Today we are going to East Riddlesden Hall in Keighley.
So we've just arrived at East Riddlesden Hall. It's a National Trust property. Some lovely gardens. I already saw some really nice snowdrops. Says welcome to East Riddlesden Hall. Hellebore and snowdrops. Huh? Oh, Joshi, you need to get in. These snowdrops. Hellebore. One of the things that I really love to do as a family is going to visit historic houses. And here in England, we have the National Trust that gives you an opportunity to visit some of these old houses. And one of the joyous things about going to see the old houses, aside from enjoying the architecture and immersing yourself in the history, is that they are more than just buildings. To me, they are repositories of amazing collections and artifacts, as well as stories. And each time we visit a house, particularly in our region of Yorkshire or in the north, it feels like we're filling in the broad brush strokes of where we live. You look like a lovely little lord. Hello, missus. You going to the textiles, are you? East Riddlesden Hall was actually built in the 1640s, and it was built by a local textile wealthy merchant who lived in the area of Keighley in Bradford, and it was built with Yorkshire stone. As you can see there, the children had an absolutely wonderful time. It's a very child-friendly hall and quite hands-on, which is always really lovely to have something that the children can involve themselves fully in. Driving up to get to East Riddlesden Hall, we had to go through the moors, and I couldn't help but think of Emily Bronte's Withering Heights as we were coming through this particular area of West Yorkshire. It's very evocative of that Withering Heights atmosphere. And walking through the hall itself, I couldn't help but picture Catherine and Heathcliff. It very much evoked that. And then later on, I found out that actually the movie adaptation of Withering Heights that stars Ralph Fiennes as Heathcliff and Juliette Binoche as Catherine was actually filmed in parts here at East Riddlesden Hall. And I thought, how fabulous. So I've added that movie back onto my to-watch list just so I can now check off the location as I'm watching it because I have been there. Just finished touring the house now, and it was really lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Each of the rooms had some volunteers that were very helpful with pointing out things, and you could ask them questions, and they were very knowledgeable. So, a really good day. We're just waiting a little bit out here, and then we're going to do a bit of a walk. It's a 2.5 mile walk, and yeah. And though the gardens were during their resting period, I would say, the snowdrops were absolutely fabulous. It was wonderful to see all of these snowdrops in a naturalized setting. After we finished with the house, we wanted to go on what's called the Meadow Walk, which is a 2.5 mile circular walk down this beautiful valley over here. So you can see that the house is perched at the top of a hill, and they would have had this grand sweeping view of the beautiful moors and the beautiful valley. Unfortunately, the walk didn't pan out as we had planned because the fields were very, very, very muddy, as in seriously muddy. The only person who was dressed for being able to walk in super muddy fields was myself in my wellies, but nobody else had put on any wellies, and I hadn't thought to get anybody in wellies. And so we just did a very quick walk in the bits that were not as muddy. However, there is a lovely walk, and there are some picnic tables that you can use. And I found out from one of the volunteers that the last person who actually lived in this property was a farmer who was farming in the adjacent areas. So I think it's really lovely that when National Trust took over, they also used some of the land to create this meadow that has picnic tables for you to picnic in. And there's the view of the house from the bottom of the meadow, and doesn't it look magnificent and atmospheric? Very Wuthering Heights, as far as I can tell. Thank you so much for visiting with us and coming along with us on this day out where we visited East Riddlesden Hall in West Yorkshire. My kids had a blast. They really enjoyed it. And I'll leave you now with a clip of my son having a lot of fun by the meadow before we got back into the car. And until I see you next time, lovelies, I wish you blue skies, health, and happiness. Bye.